I'm Elizabeth at Literary Princess, and today I have my February TBR for you. I am participating in 2 events this February, and all of the books that I have to talk about today are for those events. Whether or not I actually read all these or not, you know. Will I read other things? Probably. Am I planning to read other things? No, I'm planning to read these, but best laid plans, etc., etc. So we will talk about each of the readathons in turn. Let's jump in. The first event that I'm participating in is FebRegency, which I have participated in before. This is a readathon all about the Regency period. It is hosted by Emma from A Bookish Princess, Stephanie from Miss Richards Reads, Tristan from Tristan and the Classics, and Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space. And the idea is to read books from between 1795 to 1837, which is kind of a loose interpretation of the Regency, but that's fine because I'm going to be getting even looser with one of my books, so it's fine. So I've got 4 potential reads for this. There are 2 that are like my really, like, I'm gonna read these. And then 2 are like, if I have time. Will I have time? First one is actually a very recent work of nonfiction about Regency authors. This is Sister Novelists, the trailblazing Porter sisters who paved the way for Austen and the Brontes by Devani Lucer. I got this for Christmas, and I was recommended it by an alumni from my program. And this is about Jane and Anna Maria Porter, who were contemporaries of Jane Austen, published between them 26 books, and were quite famous. And now they're, I mean, have you heard of them? Because I hadn't. So I love literary biographies, and I love finding new women writers from this time period. So I'm really excited to read this. Also, I love this cover a lot. The second one is a novel, and this is the one where I'm like kind of pushing that 1795 to 1837 dates. This is Cecilia by Frances Burney. This was published in 1782, so technically a bit before the time period. However, Frances Burney was an incredibly popular author during the Regency. She is one of Jane Austen's biggest influences. So I feel like she counts, and it's fine. Also, I'm pretty sure the group read last year was Evelina by her, which was written even earlier than Cecilia, so it's fine. I meant to read this last year. I didn't. She chunky. She really, really chunky. Like, why? Why? It's almost, oh, with notes, it's 1,000 pages. Okay. Yeah. So it's about a young woman named Cecilia who is an heiress, but she can only inherit if her husband agrees to take her last name. So this is about her trying to find a husband. It just sounds really fun. I loved Evelina, which was also incredibly fun. So I'm excited to read this. Evelina was a lot shorter though. So these 2 books are like my main goals. I'm like, I will read Cecilia if it's the last thing I do. But it's happening, okay? It's happening. And if I somehow have time after Cecilia, I do have 2 other books that I might want to get to. And I think one of these, yes, one of these counts for at least one of the prompts, and possibly a second prompt, but I'm not sure. So this first one is The Woman of Color by Anonymous. So we don't know who wrote it. It is about a woman named Olivia who is a biracial heiress who comes from Jamaica to England. So Stephanie's prompt is to read a new to you Regency author. I mean, we don't know who the author is, but I'm assuming I haven't read them before, because if it was like Jane Austen or Frances Burney or Mariah Edgeworth or anyone else who wrote this, I think we'd know at this point. And then the other one is Emma's Prompt, which is to read a book from the Regency era that involves a naval journey or travel by sea. So it says that she must travel from Jamaica to England. And I'm assuming that gets covered in the book. Maybe it doesn't, but that would definitely be a sea voyage. So I'm really interested to read this. It's not actually that long. The text starts on like page 50 and ends on page 190 or something. So it's pretty short, especially compared to some things. So I'm really interested to read it. I might not get to it this month, and that's fine, but if I can, I'd like to. Then the other one that I have as a possibility for FebRegency is The Wild Irish Girl by Sydney Owenson Lady Morgan, which I tried to read last year, I think multiple times, and then just didn't. My friend lent this to me, and I really need to give it back to her. Also, it just sounds really interesting. It is about a man named Horatio, okay, who's the son of an English lord who has an estate in Ireland, and he gets sent to the Irish estate, where he meets Glorvina, the daughter of who would be the king of that area if, you know, the English hadn't come in like they do. So, and they have a romance and whatnot, I believe. This is from 1806, and I really want to read it. And I started it. I was liking it. I think this was in Jane Austen July, maybe? I don't remember. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. But if I can, I would like to get to it. And then we have the second event, which is the We Love Jenny Readathon, being hosted by Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space and Tiffany from Beautiful Minutia. I'm sure that you all know by now of the really horrible loss of Jennifer Brooks, who I consider a pillar of this community. She passed away at the beginning of January, very suddenly and unexpectedly. And I did not know Jenny personally, really, but I have been watching her YouTube channel since before I started my own YouTube channel. So it was kind of a nasty shock to find out that somebody who you watch weekly and who's your age has passed away. Like, rather upsetting. But Christy and Tiffany have created this readathon in her memory, which I think is lovely. And the idea is just to read books that Jenny loved, or about topics that Jenny loved. I'm like, darn it, my Napoleon biography's not here. I could have read that, although, let's be real, I should not be reading a Napoleon biography right now, but I feel like Jenny would have appreciated that. So I have two books that I'm going to be reading for this. The first is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. Jenny just read this toward the end of 2023, and I think it ended up on her favorites list. It is a dark academia book. I love Ava Reid. I'm reading an Ava Reid book right now. And Jenny just spoke really highly of it, which made me excited because I'd put it on my Christmas list, so I was expecting to get it. So definitely want to be picking this up. I was going to be picking this up anyway this year, but now seems like a good time to pick it up in her memory. And the second book that I'm reading for this is the group read for the readathon. This is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. This is kind of a, like, modern retelling, sort of the Shelley Byron party's time. In Geneva, I think, when Mary Shelley famously wrote Frankenstein. At least that's kind of the impression I'm getting, and that's what I am remembering from what Jenny said. So Other than what I've heard from Jenny, that I don't know much about this, but it was her favorite book of 2023, which is why it was chosen for the group read. And I'm intrigued. My library has a copy. I had to put a hold on it. I am second in line, so probably won't be getting to it until later in February. But I do want to check it out and see what it's about because she spoke so highly of it. I do want to say thank you so much to Christy and to Tiffany for organizing this readathon. I think it's a really beautiful way of remembering Jenny. And I do want to say that my heart goes out to her family and everyone that was close with her. It's such a hard thing to understand, death. And it's just, it doesn't make sense and it hurts so much. And my heart just goes out to all of them. And I'm so sorry for their loss. As I said, I consider Jenny a pillar of the booktube community, and there is definitely now a hole there. So, those are my reading plans for February. Let me know down in the comments below, are you participating in either of these events? Are you reading anything specifically in honor of Jenny? Have you read any of these books that I've talked about? What did you think? It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.